What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Raider World. So in this video, we have Zero 3D's Latitude tail light with light strike technology. For 14 and up Harley-Davidson touring models, this Latitude tail light and license plate holder is an easy way to customize your rear fender. Available in black or chrome with red or light smoke lens, this plug and ride light replaces your entire OEM light assembly, giving you a sleek and custom look. Featuring Zero's light strike technology, turns your lighting into an animated display of brilliant Everlight automotive grade LEDs that allows you to easily customize your run, turn, and brake functions with a smartphone app. So currently, I am running the Latitude tail light without the light strike technology, but I've become such a fan of being able to customize my lighting that I'm making the switch to the light strike light. At the end of this video, I'll run through all the functions that this light has to offer to include what this light looks like on the road at night. So if you're still running the bullet rear light bar, this install is going to be the exact same. So let's get this unboxed and installed on the bike. Alright guys, so in the box, you get your Latitude tail light and base, your tail light gasket, your license plate base and pad, your license plate frame, your plug and ride harness, your plug, some dielectric grease, zip ties, your mounting hardware, and your instructions. Alright guys, so for tools, I used a ratchet, a 2-inch extension, 1/2-inch socket, 7/16 socket, some cable tie cutters, some blue Loctite, some dielectric grease that Zero did provide, and 9/64 Allen. So before I start installing the light, I'm going to remove my seat, my left saddlebag, and my left side cover. So to uninstall the Latitude tail light I currently have, I'm going to cut all these zip ties securing the wire leading to the light. So to remove my current Latitude tail light and license plate holder, I have to remove these 2 1/2-inch bolts up here. These are holding onto the actual tail light. And to remove the license plate holder, I have to remove this 1/2-inch nut and 7/16 nut on the bottom. Just make sure you're supporting your license plate holder so it doesn't fall on you. Then from here, just remove your bracket and your spacer. So I am going to reuse this wire retainer, the 7/16 nut, and the washer. So if you're still running the stock bullet rear bar, it's pretty much the same process. All you're going to do is pop this plastic plate off. You'll take a screwdriver and just pop these 2 retention clips. You'll take out the harness that's connected to the bullet rear bar, and then you'll put in this plug that Zero provides, and all this does is just keeps the water out. So this bolt was holding onto the license plate holder, and now I can remove that. And now I can remove the Latitude tail light, and it's just those 2 1/2-inch bolts on the back. So here I have the new Latitude tail light with the light strike technology. Obviously you want to download the light strike app, and then your light strike app password is 000000, and then you can always change that later. And I'll run you through that process later in the video. Also, when you're mounting your light, you have your wire housing here along this channel. You want to route your wire down so it's in between the channel, and then you'll take your gasket. It has the same channel here, and then all you're going to do is sandwich it so it sits in between there. That way you're not pinching your wire. So when you're mounting your light to the rear fender, you'll just take your 2 bolts along with lock washers and Loctite, and you just mount it in these locations here. And before you mount your light, you just want to make sure that your gasket is seated properly. Now here we have the license plate base and pad. And the same thing with this pad, you have the same channel. So when you're running your wires through, you'll run it through this channel, out the back, and into the fender. So before you mount the light and license plate holder, you just want to make sure you have a clean surface. And once again, just make sure that your gasket is seated properly and that your wire is running through that channel between the gasket and the wire housing. I'll just get these bolts finger tight. I won't tighten them down all the way. So the main difference between the Latitude taillight I removed and this Latitude taillight is this circuit board here, and this is where you have all your light strike technology. So here I have the license plate holder with the pad on the back and the same channel. I'm going to take the wire and run it through this channel and then out the back. Once you have your wire running through the channel and out the back, you'll run it through your fender. Now that I have these set in place and the wires ran through, I'll take the bolt that Cyril provided and I'll run it through here just to hold on to the holder while I'm getting everything else in the back set in place. Alright guys, so this next part's going to be hard to show you on camera just because everything's sitting behind this fender, but all I'm going to do is take my bracket, my spacer, and my lock nut. I'm going to take the bolt that Cyril provided, I'll run it through the spacer, I'll put my bracket towards the tire side, and then I'll lock it down with the lock nut. And then you also have this post back here. That's why I removed the 7/16 nut and wire retainer along with the washer. I'll go ahead and reinstall those and I'll run the wire through and then I'll tighten everything down. So on the bracket, it's going to be fat side up. So on the top, you have your two 1/2-inch socket bolts that are holding onto the Latitude taillight. And on the bottom for the license plate holder, you have your bracket. On the top, you have your 1/2-inch nut, and on the bottom, you have your 7/16 nut along with washer and wire retainer. Now that I have everything set in place, I'll go ahead and tighten it down. So before I route the wire and secure everything down, I'm going to connect the light just to make sure that everything works. Alright guys, so from here I'm just going to run this cable along this strut. I'll zip tie it along these other OEM cables. You just want to keep it away from any of these moving parts like your belt and your shock. Alright guys, so for your license plate holder and your license plate frame, all you're going to do is take your license plate and get it to bend with the curvature of the license plate holder. You'll take your license plate frame. You have these two spots here. They're going to slide in these two slots. So you'll put on your license plate. You'll hold it onto here. You'll take your license plate frame. You'll slide that on through the top. And then you'll put some pressure on it. And then you'll take the screw and the lock washer that Cyril provided. You'll screw it under here. You just want to make sure that the screw is behind the plate. And for the license plate screw, I'm using a 9/64 Allen. Alright guys, if you've seen any of my previous videos, you already know I have a lot of Cyril 3D products. So I went ahead and cleared out all those harnesses. So this is what it would look like if you had no aftermarket lighting. So your black plug controls your rear and your gray plug controls your front. So we'll start from here. So what we'll do first is unplug the black plug and we'll plug in our Cyril CAN bus decoder. And all these harnesses are all plug and play and they only go in one way. We'll take our Latitude taillight harness, we'll plug this into the CAN bus decoder, and then we'll take our other black plug and plug it into here. And then with your CAN bus decoder, you have these two leads. Your brown wire goes to your right and your violet wire goes to your left. So if you have saddlebag bag blades or any other type of lighting, you can plug those into here. But this is where I'll be plugging in the 4-way splitter. Now we have our splitter to our Latitude taillight, and this is our lead to our Latitude taillight. So here I have the full-way splitter from Zero 3D. I'll plug this into here. And then this 4-way splitter is connected to my saddlebag bag blades, my saddlebag light hinges, and my saddlebag filler panel lights. And here I have my other splitter, which is connected to the same lights. So now that we have this all connected, we'll go ahead and run a test. Now that I know everything works, I'm gonna run you through the functions of the Latitude tail light Strike technology. So obviously, first thing you have to do is download the Strike app. Zero does provide you with a QR code. You can just take your camera, scan the QR code, and download it from there. So I'll open up the Strike app. I'll see my Latitude tail light. I'll click on that. Now it is gonna ask you for a password, which your password is 000000, and then you can always change it from there. And now, from here, you can see your battery voltage, and then you have your power on animation, you have your turn mode, run brightness, turn strobe effect, brake animation, cool time, number of flashes, brake burst mode, burst display, frequency, and for the Bluetooth name, you can see your Latitude light. You can always change your name there. And the password, you can always change it there. And then you have other functions as well. So first, I'll just run you through a couple features that this light has to offer. So for your power on animation, right now it's set to 1. This is when you turn your motorcycle on. I'll set it to 2. From 2, I'll set it to 3. And for your power on animation, you have about 11 options. And you could always choose none if you choose not to have this feature. For your run brightness, this is where you can adjust how bright you want your run brightness to be. So I'll set it all the way to 20, set it all the way down to 12, and I'll just set my run brightness to match my other lights. So next we have our turn mode. Right now it's set to 1. I'll set it to 2. I'll set it to 3. So this is your different features for the turn mode. I'll set it back to 1, and then you have a turn strobe effect. I'll turn that off. So for your brake animation, right now I have it set to 1. And then you also have a cooldown time and number of flashes. I'll change it from 1 to 2. And here you don't really have an option between cooldown time and number of flashes. Change it to 3. And then from here you do have an option of a cooldown time. So I'm holding down the brake here, and this is your brake animation. So from here I'll change it back to 1, and I'll change the number of flashes to 2. So the number of flashes is basically when you hold down your brake, how many times it's gonna flash. So for brake burst mode, you have 5 options. Right now it's set to 1. I'll go ahead and pull the brake. And this is where you see your brake burst mode. I'll go ahead and turn that off. I'll hold down the brake. And currently I'm still holding on the brake, and you're not seeing the brake burst mode option. So I'll turn that back on. I'll change it from 1 to 4. I'll pull the brake. And this is your brake burst mode option 4. Then from here you have the Bluetooth name. You can change it from Latitude to whatever name you choose. And then your password, this is where you can change your password. And then you have different options here. All right guys, so that's just some of the functions of the Latitude taillight. Let's take it out on the road and see what it looks like at night.